Hi there. Well, this is a little bit of a unique live today because this is Fia Forstrom, and she is performing live on Facebook for the One World Tantra Festival. Fia is a beautiful friend of mine that I met at Soul Play, and then we camped together at Burning Man last summer. Her partner, husband Eugene, is the one that runs the One World Tantra Festival, and I've been volunteering my time as the co-manager of the emo space. I'm going to actually turn Fia down a little bit. But I thought it'd be nice to have her song playing in the background today. I'm not going to do the whole meditation today for that reason, because I just thought it would be fun to share this. So, usually behind me you see my my seal and my artwork above my art altar. This is the first time you're seeing the other functionality of my event space, Temple Amadora. I have it like this projection TV system and sound system where I can host dance parties and workshops and other kind of events. So I have all of this kind of functionality. So this is a side of Temple Amadora that you haven't seen before, but I thought I might as well just share just a little bit of Fia with you as we do our card draw and reflection today. So thank you so much for joining me today, for tuning in. Isn't she beautiful? I love Fia. I love her music. For those of you who don't know Fia Forstrom, she is a songstress from Sweden. She lives near Stockholm with her partner Eugene Hedlund. And I just love her music. It's so uplifting and inspirational and just so needed during these really super challenging times. So if you have not heard of Fia, please look her up. You can probably find her website, or you can probably find her on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all those good things. So in any case, let's get on with our card draws, shall we? It's right in there somewhere. It's this card.
It seems as we are buried, it's most often a time of birth.
Interesting. The card is wind or activation. So I'm going to go ahead and read about that. You know, there's been a lot of activation the last couple of days in this festival. I guess there's been a few technical glitches. From my perspective, it's been running perfectly and smoothly and wonderfully, with just a couple glitches here and there that we've handled really easily within the emo space. And some people have been getting really angry around some of the some things that happened with links, getting into a couple of the workshops, and I'm just reflecting on how sometimes as humans we can be so impatient. There's so much support available within the festival. We've got 3 volunteers a shift for almost the entire festival in the emotional support space, and often there are extras, people hanging out in that space who are happy to help people find their links. You can come in for emotional support, you can come in to hang out, you can come in because you can't get into the workshop that you're looking for, and someone will help you with the link you need. The resources are available, yet some people have chosen to air their discontent on the wall of the event page rather than actually seeking support from humans that are there waiting and wanting to help. Why do people do that? Reflecting. Anyway, let's see what the card says. The various currents of air that circulate on our planet can be gentle enough to tickle the hairs on our arms, or so fierce that they destroy man-made structures, as well as trees and other vegetation. Wind moves the air to circulate the atmosphere and keep it from becoming stagnant. When there's no movement, the atmosphere feels somehow heavier. Gentle breezes help cool the land and pollinate flowers, whereas more tempestuous winds can snap tree branches off and stir something deeply within us. More violent winds can create temporary chaos with their ferocity. No matter the degree of intensity, wind will activate us. In this image, the breath of the god of wind stirs the sea and rearranges the sky. As this occurs, the weather shifts. The effects, even in this small area, send ripples throughout, blending and dancing with the water and the sky. It activates the atmosphere, and the world feels more alive when there's wind. The lethargy you feel is the result of a lack of activation. In other words, something that stirs your senses. This could be anything from walking outdoors, feeling the breeze on your body, or inhaling the different aromas that nature herself provides. Or it could be finding the pleasure in a warm bath that helps you release the tension and stress from your mind and body. Music may activate your hearing, which sparks the pleasure centers in your brain. Art may activate the emotional responses. The touch of another human may activate a deep need to be physically held in some manner once again. Now is the time for action. Engage in some activity and be fully present so that you forget about your surroundings and enter into that timeless and multidimensional experience of union with the focus of your creative intention. Let your physical body be active. Movement alone, whether quietly dancing by yourself or hiking up that hill over yonder, will require you to be as present as possible in your body. Enjoy. Well, what comes up for me when I read this card is all the activation that we're feeling in our world right now. All the winds of change are blowing. The discontent of the people protesting the mistreatment of their fellow man, people who are standing up to oppression, black and white standing together, recognizing that our society, our power structure has been broken for too long. And whether it's someone blustering on the wall in the event page about things not working, or people rioting on the streets of LA, or rioting on the streets of New York, or any of the other cities and towns and municipalities throughout this country. I mean, I live in this sleepy little suburb in the East Bay, Pleasanton, California. And even in Pleasanton and Dublin and Livermore, there have been protests. Floyd was, I think, the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. This problem has been systemic in our society for years and years. And no matter how many people die, how many times this comes up over and over and over again, racial profiling, people being attacked for the color of their skin, people being picked out just because they happen to be born with more melatonin in their skin. Melanin in their skin, sorry. Wrong chemical name. Melatonin puts you to sleep. Melanin is the one that makes your skin dark. It's a chemical in your skin that was developed as an evolutionary adaptation to protect you from the sun. People who lived closer to the equator happen to have that. as an evolutionary adaptation. It doesn't mean shit about the person that you are inside. It doesn't mean shit about your soul. You were lucky if you were born with skin of a color that doesn't make you systemically oppressed. And it doesn't have to be that way. It is time for us with voices to speak up for what is right. It is not okay to look the other way. When we look the other way, we are enabling. And it doesn't mean you have to be in the streets protesting. For some people, that's their path. And I think it is important to have white people standing at the sides of our black brothers and sisters, because they can help keep them safe, because they have that privilege. We need to use our privilege to move this conversation forward. But we also have to use our voices. We have to use our vote. We have to hold people accountable, and we have to not give into the bullshit of believing all of the misinformation that is out there on Facebook and in the internet. Trump trying to blame Antifa, that's bullshit. Antifa just stands for anti-fascist. We fought against the fascists in Italy in World War II. Fascism isn't a good thing. We've got a fascist president. We need to stand up against him. We need to stand up against the police officers that are out of line. And we need to recognize how many are on the right side. I'm so inspired by the pictures of the police officers taking a knee and joining the protest. Just because someone's a police officer doesn't make them the enemy. It's a matter of joining together, black and white, the police and the public, recognizing that we have more in common than we have that makes us different. When we go inside, when we go in our heart and we accept the guidance that is within us, instead of living from our programming and the years and the decades and the generations of hatred, just because someone was born from a family or a culture that gave them the idea that they were better than someone just because of the color of their skin doesn't make it true. You don't have to fucking hang on to those beliefs. You can let them go. Every person has the right to choose their own beliefs. You don't have to stick with the beliefs of the culturescape, of the beliefs that you were grown up with, the beliefs that were indoctrinated into you as a child. You incarnated onto this world at this time for a reason. And it's time that we let go of those dysfunctional beliefs. I've had enough. I stand for love. I stand for unity. I stand for connection. And I stand against the bullshit of the administration. What Trump was saying yesterday to the governors about cracking down and jailing people for 10 years because they protest, that's messed up. There's a thing called the First Amendment that gives us the freedom to express, the freedom to protest, the freedom to have our voices heard. And just because he wants to make himself a dictator doesn't make it right. There's a thing called cognitive dissonance. And people who voted for him, they may have a hard time accepting that they made a mistake, that they did. And we all see it. We all know. But when you hang on to the belief that you can't be wrong, you hang on to this dysfunctional belief of separation, you're part of the problem. It's not too late. It's not too late to choose unity. It's not too late to choose connection. We need to build bridges with those who believe differently than us. We need to recognize the humanity in those, in all people, even people who voted for Trump. As much as I have a hard time understanding it. When we make them other, when we make them different, when we make them wrong, it drives a wall of separation. So how do we reach that? How do we reach out? How do we create conversations that move us towards the new reality that we want to create on the other side of this? I believe that all of this is part of a great awakening. This is here to wake us up. And I just beg each and every one of you to look inside. How can you be part of the change? How can you move this conversation forward? How can you bring people together? How can we, as a movement, as a community, connect with those around us? Drop into love. Drop into connection. How can you strengthen your third chakra enough to be able to have the courage to use your fifth chakra to speak?
If you want to continue to listen to this music, you can find me on Spotify.
This is a little bit of a rant, I'm sorry. But this is too important for me to stay silent any longer.
Want to purchase the music, my website.
Thanks for listening. I'm going to sign off now. Bye.
You can go there and the very soon, goes to bundling new music.